The air that night felt wrong. Not just cold, not just windy. Wrong. Like the world had been left outside too long, and something inside it had gone stale. My name is Caleb, and the last place I expected to spend the worst night of my life was a little highway rest stop in the middle of nowhere. I wasn't supposed to be there. I was supposed to be home, warm, safe, probably asleep on the couch with the TV still on. But my car started making that sound. The sound you pretend isn't real. A low, grinding rattle, like metal chewing metal. I'd been driving back from my sister's place. She lived 2 hours out, in a town so small you could sneeze and hit the city limit sign. I left late. Snow had started falling hard. The kind that doesn't drift. It swallows. By the time the rattle started, I was already committed. Nothing but trees, black fields, and the pale tunnel of my headlights. The rest stop sign appeared like a miracle. A green rectangle buried in snow. Pine Ridge Rest Area, 1 mile. I'd never heard of Pine Ridge, but I didn't care. I took the exit. The road curved into the woods, and the trees leaned in closer, like they wanted to listen. The parking lot was huge, too huge, and almost empty. A few snow-covered sedans sat in the far corners, like abandoned toys, and near the building, a single semi-truck idled. Its headlights were off, but the cab glowed faintly, a dim yellow square of light behind frosted glass. I parked 2 rows away, turned off my engine, and the sudden silence pressed against my ears. When the wind hit, it sounded like something breathing. I popped the hood. My phone flashlight cut through swirling snow. Everything under there looked wet, shiny, and I didn't know cars well enough to fake confidence. I stood there staring like an idiot until I heard it. A crunch behind me. Slow footsteps in the snow. I turned. A man was walking out from between the rows. Big, broad shoulders, thick winter coat. He had one of those knit hats pulled low, and his face was mostly shadow. He stopped a few feet away. "Car trouble?" he asked. His voice was calm. Not friendly. Not mean. Just flat. "Yeah," I said. "I think so." Started rattling. I didn't want to push it. He leaned closer, peering into the engine bay. His breath came out in a thick cloud. "Alternator belt," he said, after a moment. "Or you're leaking something." I blinked. "You can tell that from that?" He looked at me, and when my light hit his face, I saw his eyes. Pale, almost colorless. He didn't smile. "I've been on the road a long time," he said. I nodded. "Thanks. I'm probably just gonna wait it out. Call a tow in the morning." He glanced toward the rest stop building, then toward the semi-truck idling near the entrance. "You shouldn't stay here," he said. The way he said it made my stomach tighten. "Why?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. He just stared like he was deciding how much truth I could handle. Finally he said, "They close this place at night." I looked at the building again. The lights were on. The doors looked normal. "It's a rest stop," I said. "They don't close." He stepped back. "This one does." Then he turned and walked away, back into the snow. Just like that. I stood there, staring after him, half expecting him to vanish. But he didn't. He crossed the lot toward the semi-truck, climbed up into the cab, and the dim yellow glow brightened for a second, like someone had opened a fridge door in the dark. Then the glow went back to normal, and the truck kept idling. I swallowed, shut my hood, and made the decision I always make when I'm scared. I tried to act like I wasn't. I grabbed my phone. No service. Of course. I got back in my car. Turned the key. The engine tried. Choked. Tried again. Then it started, with that same grinding rattle. I cursed under my breath. The heater was weak, like it was trying to warm a freezer. I sat there for a long moment, watching snow build up on the windshield, and then I saw the rest stop doors open. A figure stepped out. Tall, thin. He wore a dark uniform, like security. He stood under the light above the entrance and looked across the lot, right at me. Even from that distance, I felt it. That sensation of being singled out, chosen. He started walking. Not fast, not slow, steady. My mouth went dry. I looked toward the semi-truck. The driver was still inside, still glowing faintly. I watched the uniformed man approach my row. His boots left deep prints. When he reached the front of my car, he tapped the hood. Hard, like knocking on a coffin. I cracked my window an inch. Cold air sliced in. "Evening?" he said. His voice didn't match his face. His face was pale. Sharp features. Lips too thin. Eyes too dark. "This area is closed," he said. I blinked. "What? It's a rest stop." "We close at midnight," he said. It is now past midnight. I glanced at my dashboard clock. 12:07 a.m. I hadn't even noticed the time. It felt like I'd been there 5 minutes. "My car's having trouble," I said. "I can't really." "That is not my concern," he said. "You must leave." I felt heat rise in my chest. "Sir, it's snowing like crazy. I don't even have service. I just need to wait until morning." He leaned down, closer to the cracked window, and I smelled something. Not cigarettes, not cologne. Old iron, like pennies. His voice dropped. "If you stay," he said, "you will be processed." My throat tightened. Processed? He straightened, and for the first time, he smiled. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't human. It was the kind of smile you see on a sign right before a warning label. Then he turned and walked back toward the building, as if the conversation was over. I sat frozen, hands tight on the steering wheel. Processed. My brain tried to make sense of it, tried to turn it into something normal, like paperwork, like a ticket, like getting escorted out. But the way he said it, it sounded like a factory word, a conveyor belt word. I looked at the semi-truck again. The driver's cab light flickered. Once, twice. Then the truck's headlights came on. Bright, white. They cut across the lot and landed on my car like a spotlight. I flinched. The engine rattle got louder, like it knew I was about to run. I threw the car into reverse. The tires spun. Snow kicked up. The car slid sideways. For a second, I thought I was stuck. And in that second, the semi-truck's horn blew. One long blast. Deep. It didn't sound like a horn. It sounded like a signal. Like something calling something else. The rest stopped. Building lights flickered. And for a split second, I saw shapes behind the glass. Not people. Too tall. Too still. Like mannequins hanging from hooks. My tires finally grabbed. The car lurched backward, then forward. I aimed for the exit. The steering wheel vibrated in my hands. The rattle screamed under the hood. As I passed the semi-truck, I looked up into the cab. I wish I hadn't. The driver was sitting perfectly still, hands at 10 and 2, face turned toward me, and his eyes weren't pale anymore. They were black, like holes. And behind him, in the sleeper compartment, there were shapes stacked. Not boxes, not bags. Shapes with shoulders. Shapes with heads. My stomach dropped. I hit the gas. The exit lane came up fast. I turned onto the ramp. And the moment I hit the highway, my headlights dimmed. Just faded. Like someone turned down the world. I slapped the headlight switch. Nothing changed. Then my radio crackled, even though it had been off. Static poured out, thick and heavy, like snow in sound form. And through the static, a voice came in. Not a DJ, not emergency alert. A calm, flat voice. Vehicle entering corridor. I felt my skin go cold. The voice continued. Subject, single occupant. Condition, mobile. Directive, return to Pine Ridge. My hands shook. What the? The static surged, and the voice changed. It sounded closer now, like it was inside the car. Do not resist processing. I screamed and punched the radio power button. The radio went silent, but the voice didn't stop. It came again. Not from the speakers, but from the back seat. Do not resist. I whipped my head around. The back seat was empty, but the rear window was fogged, and on the fog, a finger had written something. A single word. Return. My heart hammered. I faced forward again, and the road was different. It should have been 2 lanes, open fields, tree line, but now the trees were closer, packed tight, like walls, and the snow wasn't falling anymore. It was drifting upward. I blinked hard, thinking I was hallucinating. Then I saw headlights behind me. A big pair, high up, the semi-truck. It was right behind me now, too close, and it hadn't been on the highway. It couldn't have caught up that fast. Unless it hadn't followed me, unless it had been waiting. The truck's horn blew again, and my steering wheel jerked left. Not me. The wheel. My hands fought it. My arms strained, but the car turned anyway. Back toward the exit ramp. Back toward Pine Ridge. I was screaming now. Crying. Begging. I don't even know who I was begging. The rest stop sign came into view again, glowing green through the trees. Pine Ridge Rest Area, 1 mile. I tried to stop. I slammed the brakes. The pedal went to the floor. No resistance. No slowing. Just the smooth, sick glide of surrender. The semi-truck's headlights filled my mirrors. And through the windshield, I saw the rest stop. Building waiting. Lights on. Doors open. Like a mouth. I pulled into the lot. Not because I wanted to, because I was made to. The car rolled to a stop in the exact same spot as before. The engine died, and the silence came back. The uniformed man stood outside the building again. Waiting. Beside him were 2 more figures in dark uniforms. They didn't move like people. They moved like machines pretending. The semi-truck pulled in behind me. Stopped. Idled. The driver climbed down. It was the same man who'd warned me earlier. The pale-eyed trucker. He walked to my window. Tapped once. I didn't move. He leaned close and spoke so quietly I barely heard it over my heartbeat. I tried, he whispered. They always come back. My lips trembled. What is this? His pale eyes flicked toward the building. A place, he said, where lost drivers get turned into cargo. My stomach lurched. I saw the shapes. He nodded once. People who didn't leave, he whispered. The uniformed man raised a hand, and the trucker flinched like he'd been shocked. He stepped back from my window, expression blanking out, like someone had flipped a switch inside him. No more warning. No more humanity. He turned and walked toward the semi-truck. The uniformed man approached my car again. This time he didn't knock. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small handheld device. It looked like a barcode scanner. He pointed it at my windshield. A red beam swept across my face. My skin prickled. My teeth hurt. The device beeped. He spoke, calm and official. Processing begins now. I fumbled with my seatbelt. Hands numb. Heart exploding. I got it free. Grabbed the door handle. The door wouldn't open. I pulled harder. Nothing. The locks clicked, then clicked again, and again, like the car couldn't decide whether to trap me or release me. The uniformed man pressed his palm against the glass. The window frosted instantly under his hand. White ice spread outward, like veins. I screamed, kicked the door, punched the window. The ice kept crawling, up the glass, across the dashboard, over the steering wheel. My breath turned to fog so thick I couldn't see. And then I heard it, a sound from the trunk, a thump, then another, like something inside my car was waking up. The uniformed man smiled again. "Do you hear it?" he asked softly. I sobbed. What is that?" He leaned close to the glass. "That," he said, "is your replacement." The trunk thumped harder. The whole car shook. I looked toward the semi-truck. Its back doors were open now. Inside, rows of hanging shapes. They swayed gently, like meat, and one of them lifted its head. I saw my own face. Same eyes, same hair, same mouth. But the smile was wrong. Too wide, too eager. The thing that looked like me mouthed words through the dark. "Thank you." My vision blurred. The cold wrapped around me like plastic. I couldn't feel my fingers. Couldn't feel my feet. The uniformed man raised the scanner again. The red beam swept my face and stayed there. I tried to scream, but my mouth wouldn't open. I tried to blink, but my eyes stayed wide. He spoke like he was reading a receipt. "Label assigned. Destination. Unknown. Cargo. Accepted." The last thing I heard was the semi-truck's engine revving. And the last thing I saw was the thing wearing my face, walking out of the truck and climbing into my car, taking my seat, putting its hands on the wheel, and looking straight into the windshield, like it was excited to go home. Weeks later, my sister told the story differently. She said I showed up at her place at 2 a.m., soaked in snow, quiet, smiling. She said I hugged her too tight and whispered something that made her skin crawl. I got processed, I told her. Then I asked if I could use her shower and if she had a trash bag, because the roads were slippery and I needed to clean up the mess in the trunk. If you're listening to this right now and you've ever pulled into a rest stop you've never noticed before, if you've ever seen a semi-truck idling with its lights off, like it's waiting for someone, do me a favor. Check the clock. If it's past midnight, don't even step out of your car. Because some places don't exist to help you rest. Some places exist to turn you into cargo. And if you want more stories like this, make sure you subscribe to Spooky Chilling Tales. Hit that like button if this one got under your skin. And drop a comment with the word process so I know you made it out. Because until next time, keep your doors locked and your eyes on the road.